Participants, on behalf of ICAN, it's my great honor to welcome you all to the Global Accounting and Finance Outsourcing Conference. This conference aims to bring together professionals to share knowledge, experiences, and best practices in accounting and finance outsourcing. I kindly request our technical crew to play the national anthem, and I request everybody to kindly rise in an honor of our national anthem.
सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सायो थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आचल वीरहरूका राजधानी स्वतन्त्र र अचल ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तराई पहाड हिमाल अखण्ड यो प्यारो हाम्रो मातृभूमि नेपाल बहु जाति भाषा धर्म संस्कृति छन् विशाल अग्रगामी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय नेपाल.
Thank you so much. I request everybody to kindly be seated. In short, we aim that this conference will play a very, very important role in connecting people, ideas, and opportunities from around the world to strengthen the future of accounting and finance outsourcing in the days to come. Moving ahead, may I have the pleasure of welcoming CA Nilabahadur Sarumagar, President of ICAN, to deliver opening remarks and also to deliver welcome remarks to everybody present here in the hall. With a big round of applause, may I have the pleasure of welcoming CA Nilabahadur Sarumagar, President ICAN. Thank you.
धन्यवाद उद्घोषिका मित्र. नेपाल चार्टर्ड अकाउन्टन्ट्स संस्थाद्वारा आयोजित कन्फरेन्स अन ग्लोबल अकाउन्टिङ एन्ड फाइनान्स आउटसोर्सिङमा उपस्थित संस्थाका उपाध्यक्षज्यू, काउन्सिल मेम्बर साथीहरू, हाम्रो निम्तालाई स्वीकार गरेर आउनुभएका विदेशी पाहुनाहरू तथा आजको यो कन्फरेन्समा निकै उत्साहका साथ उपस्थित हुने आदरणीय उपस्थित महानुभावहरू सम्पूर्णमा यहाँहरूलाई बिहानको नमस्कार र आजको यो कन्फरेन्समा यहाँहरूलाई म हार्दिक स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु. नेपाल चार्टर्ड संस्थाको स्ट्राटेजिक इन्टेन्ट बिकमिङ अ पार्टनर इन नेसनल बिल्डिङ भन्ने इन्टेन्टमा रहेर हामीले नेपालमा चाहिँ यो आउटसोर्सिङ विशेष गरी फाइनान्स एकाउन्टिङ आउटसोर्सिङको निकै ठुलो पोटेन्सियल भएको हाम्रो अध्ययन अनुसार चाहिँ ग्लोबल अकाउन्टिङ इनिसिएटिभ नेपाल भन्ने प्रोजेक्ट हामीले सञ्चालन गरेका थियौँ. त्यही प्रोजेक्ट अन्तर्गत रहेर चाहिँ हामीले विशेष गरेर नेपालमा अहिले आउटसोर्सिङ गर्न चाहने, आउटसोर्सिङ चाहिँ इन्डस्ट्रीमा लाग्न चाहने साथीहरूलाई प्रोत्साहन गर्नको लागि र आउटसोर्सिङ सम्बन्धी विभिन्न खालका चाहिँ ग्लोबल चाहिँ तपाईँको डायस्पोरामा चलेका कुराहरूलाई यहाँहरूमाझ चाहिँ अब राख्ने वातावरण बनाउनको लागि र यो सेक्टर चाहिँ तपाईँको यो सेक्टरलाई चाहिँ हामीले भोलिको दिनमा नेपालको इकोनोमिक चाहिँ ग्रोथमा चाहिँ सिग्निफिकेन्ट कन्ट्रिब्युसन गर्न सक्ने बनाउनको लागि चाहिँ हामीले यो ग्लोबल अकाउन्टिङ इनिसिएटिभ सुरु गरेका थियौँ. त्यसै अन्तर्गत रहेर आज हामीले यहाँहरूसँग चाहिँ यो कन्फरेन्स आयोजना गर्न गइरहेका छौँ र आज हामीसँग निकै महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ व्यक्तिहरू हुनुहुन्छ जसले अलरेडी ग्लोबल एकाउन्टिङ एन्ड फाइनान्स आउटसोर्सिङमा निकै राम्रो काम गर्नुभएको छ र मलाई लाग्छ आजको यो दिनभरिको डिस्कसनले चाहिँ यहाँहरूलाई यो सेक्टरमा लाग्नको लागि निकै प्रेरित गर्नेछ भने हामीसँग यहाँ नेपाल सरकारका केही प्रतिनिधि साथीहरू पनि हुनुहुन्छ र यो सेक्टरलाई अगाडि बढाउनको लागि नेपाल सरकारले पोलिसीमा चाहिँ कहाँ चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ एड्रेस गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ भन्ने खालको कुराहरू पनि यहाँ आउनेछन् भन्ने मैले बुझेको छु। त्यस हिसाबले चाहिँ भोलिको दिनमा इभन पोलिसी मेकिङलाई पनि आजको यो डिस्कसले चाहिँ महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ रोल प्ले गर्छ भन्ने मैले बुझेको छु र आज यो सुरुवात ग्लोबल एकाउन्टिङ इनिसिएटिभको यो सुरुवात मात्र हो। हामीले जुन प्रयासहरू गर्ने प्रयास गरिरहेछौँ यो चाहिँ सुरुवात मात्र हो। भोलिका दिनमा अझै बढी महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ हामीले प्रोग्रामहरू यहाँहरूमाझ पस्कनेछौँ। सो प्रोग्राममा रहेर चाहिँ नेपाललाई वास्तवमै संसारको एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण आउटसोर्सिङ डेस्टिनेसन रूपमा चाहिँ डेभलप गर्ने हाम्रो सपना चाहिँ साकार हुने हामीले चाहिँ विश्वास लिएका छौँ भन्दै आजको यो कार्यक्रममा तिनैवटा सेसनमा चाहिँ एकदमै गहन छलफलमा यहाँहरू सरिक हुनको लागि हाम्रा चाहिँ प्यानलिस्टहरूको चाहिँ महत्त्वपूर्ण भनाइहरू सुन्नका लागि र आगामी दिनमा चाहिँ यो सेक्टरमा लाग्नलाई यहाँहरूलाई अभिप्रेत गर्नका लागि समेत यहाँहरूलाई अनुरोध गर्दै आजको यो कार्यक्रममा पुनः यहाँहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत गर्दै बिदा हुन चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद।
धेरै धन्यवाद. I thank CA Nilbahadur Sarumagar, President ICAN, for that very, very insightful opening and also for that very, very insightful welcome remarks. उहाँले भन्नुभएको जस्तै मानिसहरूले आजको समय चाहिँ कम्पिटिसनको हो भन्छन् तर आजको समय कम्पिटिसन भन्दा पनि कोलाबोरेसनको हो। आउटसोर्सिङ सम्भवतः कोलाबोरेसनको त्यस्तै महत्त्वपूर्ण स्वरूप हो। अङ्ग्रेजीमा एउटा भनाइ छ कुनै एउटा खेल जित्ने हो भने कम्पिटिटिभ भावना चाहिन्छ तर टुर्नामेन्ट जित्ने हो भने चाहिँ कोलाबोरेसन चाहिन्छ। त्यस कारणले गर्दा आजको यो समयमा कोलाबोरेसनको विकल्प छैन। आउटसोर्सिङ पनि एउटा कोलाबोरेसनको फर्म हो। त्यसमा नेपाली कम्पनीहरू कसरी कम्पिटिटिभ हुन सक्छन्, के सिक्न सकिन्छ, बाहिरको प्र्याक्टिसलाई कसरी हामी एड्याप्ट गर्न सक्छौँ भन्ने कुराहरू आजको हाम्रो 3वटा सेसनबाट हामी सिक्ने सिकाउने प्रयासका लागि आज यो हलमा उपस्थित भएका छौँ। अब ढिला नगरिकन, with that in mind, we now move to session 1 titled Global Accounting and Finance Outsourcing, Regional Insights and Emerging Global Opportunities. The session will help us understand how different regions are shaping outsourcing trends and how new opportunities are emerging worldwide. I now invite our session chair and moderator, CA Nilbahadur Sarumagar, President ICAN. म सरलाई अगाडि यो सेसनको चेयर गरिदिनुका साथै मोडरेटरको भूमिका निर्वाह गरिदिनुका लागि पनि म हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्न चाहन्छु। तालीबाट उहाँलाई स्वागत गरिदिनु होला कृपया। बिहानै छ, दिनभरि हामी बस्नु छ, एनर्जी त चाहिन्छ नै। उहाँको छोटो परिचय म दिन चाहन्छु। यहाँहरूलाई उहाँको परिचय त चाहिँदैन तैपनि म औपचारिकतामा बाँधिएको छु। CA Nilbahadur Sarumagar is the fellow member of ICAN and ICAI and is currently serving as the president of ICAN and served as the vice president of ICAN during fiscal year 2081-82. He is currently in practice with over 18 years of experience. CA Nilasaru has also served as board member of 7 during fiscal year 2081 and 82 and as an expert board member of 7 from fiscal year 73 to 74, 67 to 66 to 77, a long tenure indeed. Besides, CA Nilasaru holds MPhil in Finance from Tribhuvan University and currently pursuing PhD in Financial Economies from Tribhuvan University. With this, I'd also like to welcome our keynote speaker for this session, Mr. David Hill, Director of Remote Service, now CFO. David Hill, CPA, CGMA, CIA, is a seasoned corporate controller and international business operation expert with extensive experience in finance, accounting, and process improvement. Currently serving as corporate controller at Now CFO, he specializes in leading chains, developing leaders, and building high-performing teams across complex global operations. Over his career, he has managed financial and operational functions in more than 35 countries, implementing innovative solutions in challenging environments while enhancing efficiency and customer service. May I have the pleasure of welcoming our keynote speaker, Mr. David Hill, Director of Remote Service, with a big round of applause. Now, I would like to invite our panelist. Our first panelist for this session is Mr. Saroj Sapkota, partner, AZK Partners. Saroj Sapkota is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, FCCA, and a chartered tax advisor, and ACCA gold medalist and a global prize winner in 2 individual ACCA papers. Saroj has built a distinguished career spanning tax advisory, financial reporting, cross-border structuring, and strategic transaction support, including M&A and reorganizations. He is a partner at AZK Partners, a UK-based firm of chartered accountants recognized for technical excellence and client-focused delivery. Now part of the Canadian Group, one of the UK and Ireland's leading accountancy and business advisory groups, he has been instrumental in AZK's international growth, particularly through the successful establishment of its Nepal operation. Ladies and gentlemen, please invite our first panelist for this session. And I would like to hear some applause as well. Now I invite our second panelist for this session, CA Dhaval Kumar Deepak Thakur, Outsourcing Partner and Head Center of Excellence, JHS Consulting. Dhaval Thakur FC is the partner in charge and head of the Center of Excellence at JHS, specializing in outsourcing, data analytics, process automation, and financial advisory service. With over 15 years of post-qualification experience, he brings deep expertise in business valuation, financial projection, ERP and SOP implementation, and techno-startup consultation. Dhaval has a proven track record in executing complex projects, including SEC compliance for NASDAQ-listed entities, leveraging advanced tools such as SQL, Python, Power BI, RPA, and many more. Let's welcome our next panelist. Last but not the least, we have Mr. C.A. Raju Gazurel, CEO, Sterling Wells, as a panelist for this very first session. Raju's journey began right here as an ICAN qualified CA in 2007. And today, he stands as a testament to what ICAN graduates can achieve on the global stage. Having built a prominent UK accountancy group after working in various companies in London, including BDO and KPMG, while also qualifying as ACCA, CTA, and CFA. Beyond traditional practice, he is a technology entrepreneur whose AI-powered platforms, Fixflow and Rentalbox, are reshaping how modern accounting firms operate. With this, I request our moderator and chairperson for this session, C.A. Nilabahadur Sarumagar, to kindly proceed this very first.
At or near retirement age in the US, a workforce contraction of 300,000 plus professionals in just 2 years, and firms are aggressively turning to outsourcing and offshore delivery. This is the case of US. Similarly, in the case of UK, the Association of Taxation Technicians projects a shortfall of more than 6,000 accountants by 2050. Similarly, according to Nippon data, November 2025, 70% of firms struggle to recruit and retain professionals, accountants, and a strong shift to Asia West offshore teams. Financial Times Europe reports that Uh, it repeatedly won shrinking pipeline of accounting and finance professionals across Europe, with retirement outpacing new entrants, forcing firms to rethink talent models and increasingly look beyond national borders. Similarly, Australian Financial Review, AFR, report frequent coverage on accounting from staffing shortages and use of offshore accounting teams. So all these highlights are basically to highlight the fact that today there is a significant shortage of accountants globally. There is a significant pipeline shortage even in Asia also, in case of developed economies of Asia. So bottom line is global demand is outpacing the local supply. So what this means to the country like us is basically there is an ample opportunity to fill the gap of whatever shortage that developed countries have right now in the case of professional accountants. So this gap has already been tapped by the countries like India, Philippines, even China is doing very good in accounting outsourcing. Similarly, of late, Bangladesh, even Vietnam are catching up. Even our neighbors like Sri Lanka are also doing very good in accounting outsourcing. So there is a rough estimate of accounting and accounting outsourcing and BPO market. So it projects that by 2028, the global BPM market will reach more than USD $500 billion. So to give you a little more perspective into it, the BPO market, especially BPO and IT sector, contributes to more than 8% of GDP of Philippines. So totaling around USD $30 billion plus annually revenue from BPO itself. And India, the rough projection says that it has got more than $350 billion annual revenue from IT BPM itself. So it contributes around 7.5% to 10% of GDP of India. And this sector is creating more than 5 million jobs in India annually. So similarly, in case of Vietnam and Bangladesh, this sector is contributing to over $1 billion volume, revenue volume every year. And they are increasing, their sort of growth is increasing every year. So from this, the bottom line is that professional service exports also can contribute significantly to the national GDPs. Similarly, if you look at the case of Nepal, Nepal's IT export, including outsourcing, BPOs and everything, contributes around 1.4% of GDP of Nepal. So totaling around USD 515 million in 2022. So latest data are not available, but then I think it is more than that as of now. If you look at the comparisons of different sectors contributing to the GDP of Nepal, we say that tourism is the most important sector for Nepal to grow in the days to come, which contributes around 6.7% of GDP right now in Nepal. But if you look at the volume, it is only 3.06 billion revenue, which is being contributed by tourism sector. Similarly, hydropower, we say Nepal has got huge hydropower potential, and we have got around 90,000 approx megawatt of hydropower potential, and out of which 48,000 megawatt is possible to generate. It is workable. And hydropower sector right now is contributing to around 1.73% of the GDP of Nepal. And whereas the IT, ICT outsourcing BPM, this sector is already outpacing the hydropower sector, contributing to 1.94% of the GDP of Nepal. And if you look at the projections, what would have been the case if whatever potential that we have is already unleashed in case of Nepal. The data shows that if we are able to invite more than 2 to 3 million tourists in Nepal every year, then the tourism sector will contribute around 12 to 15% of GDP of Nepal. And the revenue would be around 12 to $15 billion. Similarly, if we are able to generate 15,000 megawatt of hydropower right now, then it would contribute around 8 to 10% of GDP of Nepal, amounting to around $8.10 billion production every year. So, whereas if we give little emphasis to this IT, BPM, outsourcing, and this sector, even knowledge process outsourcing sector, the rough estimate, basic rough projection says that it will contribute around 8 to 9% of GDP of Nepal, which equivalents to around $7 to $8 billion annually in the days to come. So this data shows that Nepal not only has the potential of hydropower or maybe tourism, but also has got very big potential in this IT and BPM sector. And the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nepal, realizing the importance of this sector, has introduced Global Accounting Initiative in Nepal project recently. So it's been, I think, around 1 month. So our calculations and discussion with the stakeholders who are already there into this market shows that already more than 2,000 professionals are working purely into accounting and finance outsourcing sector right now in Nepal. And it is already contributing to more than $50-60 million of revenue every year to the national economy. And so the GAIN project has got certain things to do by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nepal, our professionals, and by the government side. So we are assuming that if we are able to deliver whatever deliverables that we have projected in that project, and if we are able to convince the government to do the policy reform in order to attract more foreign outsourcing in Nepal, we are assuming that, we are projecting that there will be more than 50,000 jobs created within 5 years. And this sector will contribute more than $3 to $4 billion of revenue by only accounting and outsourcing alone in 5 years, in the period of 5 years alone. So with this background in mind, so we have got very important panelists today here. First, I would like to request our keynote speaker, Mr. David Hill, to present his keynote, and then we'll discuss. Thank you.
Good morning. There we go. We good? Okay. Good morning, and thank you to President C.A. Neil Bahadur, sorry, Sarumagar, sorry, and to the council members and to the committee for putting this together, and for the invitation to represent Now CFO at this important topic, global accounting and financial outsourcing. Now CFO is one of the largest outsourcing company, accounting and finance outsourcing companies in the U.S. Most of the work is done in the U.S., and we have a location here in Nepal. I want to share with you a video right now, if that would be okay.
Good morning, respected leaders of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nepal, distinguished guests, fellow professionals, and future chartered accountants. It's truly an honor to be invited to speak on such an important occasion, and I want to thank the president of the Institute and the organizing committee for the opportunity to be a part of this conversation. Today, I want to speak with you about something that is fundamentally reshaping the global accounting profession, not just how work is delivered, but how value is created. That topic is global accounting services. And I want to be very clear from the start. Outsourcing accounting today is no longer about lowering costs. It's about building capability, accessing talent, and enabling better decision making. The countries, firms, and professionals who understand this will shift and thrive. Those who do not will struggle to stay relevant. By way of introduction, my name is Randy Christensen. I'm the CEO of Now CFO in Salt Lake City, Utah.
And I'm Sean Dakeman, the Chief Financial Officer of Now CFO.
And I'm David Hill, the Director of Remote Services, overseeing the operations in Nepal.
A little bit of history and background on Now CFO is we got our start about 20 years ago, just helping businesses have better visibility to their financial picture so they could make better educated decisions. Over the years, we've grown across the United States with over 400 employees. Within about the last 12 months, we brought on a partner, an equity partner that helps us be more relevant, gives us the resources to lean into technology and grow faster, which we've been very excited about. And we see continued growth ahead of us, and we're really excited with our partnership we have in Nepal. Sean, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the current state of outsourced accounting?
All right, thank you, Randy. From the U.S. perspective, the accounting and finance landscape is under tremendous pressure. In the United States today, companies face severe shortage of qualified accounting and financial talent, rising labor and compliance costs, increasing expectation from real-time financial insight, and growing complexity in regulation, reporting, and analytics. As a result, the role of finance has fundamentally changed. Finance is no longer expected simply to report what happened last month. Finance is expected to explain what is happening now and predict what comes next. This shift has dramatically changed how outsourcing is viewed. Historically, outsourced accounting meant bookkeeping, data entry, and transactional processing. However, today, outsourcing means end-to-end accounting ownership, financial planning and analysis, forecasting, and scenario modeling. Also, virtual CFO and advisory services. At Now CFO, one of the largest outsourced accounting and finance firms in the U.S., we see this shift every day. Our clients don't ask us, can you process transactions cheaper? They ask us, can you help us make better decisions? And that change is driving the next evolution of global outsourcing. Randy, I was wondering if you could maybe explain our experience with our Nepal as an outsourcing destination.
Boy, the outsourcing destination, this evolution is exactly why we chose Nepal. When we first began operations here, we had expectations like any global firm entering a new market. We expected strong technical accounting fundamentals. We hoped for good communication skills. We were looking for a long-term partnership mindset. What we found exceeded those expectations. We found talented professionals with a solid accounting foundation, a strong work ethic, and a sense of ownership. High adaptability and a genuine desire to grow beyond task execution. What impressed us most was not just technical competence, but professionalism and a commitment. At the same time, I want to be honest and constructive. To compete globally at the highest levels, Nepal, like every emerging outsourcing market, must continue to develop. Confidence in business communication, client-facing exposure, strategic and analytical thinking. The opportunity ahead is clear. Nepal has the potential to move beyond being a delivery center and become a trusted global finance partner. That's super exciting. David, why don't you share with us from an AI automation standpoint what you see in the future?
Excellent. Thanks, Randy. No discussion about the future of accounting would be complete without addressing artificial intelligence and automation. I feel like there's a lot of anxiety in the market, especially among young students. So let me say this clearly. AI will not replace accountants, but accountants who don't adapt will be replaced. Automation is already transforming transaction processing, reconciliations, routine reporting, and data validation. So it's not a threat, it's an opportunity for us. As machines take over the repetitive tasks, the value of accounting shifts. We're going to be expected to provide more judgment, more interpretation, storytelling with the data, and strategic insight for management. In outsourced environments especially, the future belongs to professionals who can analyze trends, explain implications, advise leadership, and support decision-making. So for students in this room, your career security will not come from how well you memorize standards. It's going to come from how well you think, how clearly you communicate, and how effectively you use technology as a partner. Randy, what do you see in your role as global trends that are shaping the future of outsourced finance and accounting?
Well, globally, we see several powerful trends shaping outsourced financial services. First, the rise of virtual CFO and fractional CFO models. Companies want strategic leadership without the cost of full-time executives. Second, the rapid growth of FP&A as a service. Well, forecasting, budgeting, scenario modeling, and performance management are now core expectations. And third, increasing demand for ESG and sustainability reporting. Real-time cloud-based financial visibility. Integrated finance and operational analytics. Clients want fewer vendors and deeper partnerships. They want finance professionals who understand their business, not just their numbers. The future of outsourcing is not cheaper accounting. It's better insight, faster decisions, and stronger leadership support. Those are all very important to leaders. Sean, what do you think about what Nepal needs to focus on in the future?
Yeah, excellent question. So what does all this mean for Nepal? I believe Nepal has a genuine opportunity to position itself as a high-value global financial hub, but only if it focuses on three priorities. The first being skills. The future belongs to professionals skilled in financial planning and analysis, strategic finance, data analytics and visualizations, business communications, and technical accounting. Knowledge is the foundation. It's not the finish line. Second is technology. Global clients expect fluency in cloud accounting platforms, AI-enabled financial tools, automation systems, and strong cybersecurity practices. Technology is not optional. It is the language of modern finance. And finally, education and professional development. Professional bodies.
We are trying to meet always the high expectations of our executives, our investors, and our clients. So as mentioned, Now CFO is one of the largest outsourced companies in the United States. However, our investors have communicated that over the next 5 to 6 years, they intend us to grow by 500%. And so we will do that through acquisition and expanding up and down the value chain. When you think of the accounting services value chain, you think of bookkeeping and at the low end, and at the high end, the board reporting and analysis, the information. Now CFO has traditionally placed ourselves right in the middle. Where we've tried to thrive is providing outsourced controller and CFO work. In 2026, our direction from our investors is they want us to expand down the line into bookkeeping and accounting, and then to expand up the line into AI-driven board reporting and analysis. So that's our challenge. And Nepal is going to be key to achieving both that audacious expansion to 500% and our 2026 strategies of expanding the value ourselves along that value chain. I'm here working with Umesh to urgently rescale our team, reorganize to be able to meet that audacious goal. In the video, it was stated that outsourcing accounting work is no longer just about cost, about lowering cost. But I want to be clear to you that our clients aren't asking us to provide lower cost services. But internally, as we decide where to best perform the work, it is 100% about finding where there are adequate resources and seeking the lowest cost of those resources. So low cost is a big driver for us in being here in Nepal. We hire accountants and consultants as capable as their U.S. peers, who can provide the same or better service to the clients at a fraction of the cost. These cost savings significantly improve our gross margin and our net profit, and they provide the company the cash and the investors needed to expand. So in Nepal, we're building a team who is expert at delivering as many services as possible along that value chain, so that as much work can be performed here at a lower cost, so that our gross margin and profit increased, so that we can expand and grow. So that's a key part of our strategy, is scaling significantly here in Nepal. We're expecting to grow by at least 40% our Nepal team in 2026, adding probably around 20 to 30 new resources to that team. Specifically in 2026, at the lower end of the value chain, we are scaling our bookkeeping and accounting services. We will double the amount of work in that sphere in 2026, and we will lean into AI technologies to automate that work as much as possible. At the top end of the value chain, we are expanding and bringing more discipline to financial and business analysis. Our Nepal team will perform nearly 100% of our high-level current state analysis engagements. The work is currently performed by very expensive and experienced CPAs in the U.S. We think our team here is every bit as capable and can provide that service, great analysis at a fraction of the cost. Also at the top end of the value chain, Nepal will become our hub for delivering executive and board reporting. We've embraced AI-enabled analysis and tools to create dashboards and reports for executive management, and that's going to be a big marketing opportunity for us in the U.S., but the service will be delivered 100% by Nepal. Because of this additional work, as I said, we're going to expand our team. We are seeking always the brightest and best, those with excellent English language skills and confidence in business communication, those with client-facing exposure and those who can think strategically and analytically, and those especially who are seeking a long-term career with a great international company. Now CFO is investing in Nepal and expects to be a long-term citizen and partner in this great country. Let me now shift and share a candid view of a few barriers we and other outsourcing companies face in moving as much work as we would like to Nepal. These challenges are common, and some we will be able to overcome or work around, but many of the others are going to require the combined work of those in this committee, in this room, working with educators and political leaders to be able to drive change. First of all, I'd like to mention political stability and government policies that are favorable and predictable to business. The protests of the past year were tragic, but also inspiring. We are watching and very hopeful that the elections will be peaceful and fair and will result in leadership who will lead Nepal in a bright future. Second, time zone differences with the U.S. Some work our team performs for our clients requires real-time interaction with the U.S. consultants and clients. Unlike India and Philippines, Nepal has not yet embraced around-the-clock work shifts to coincide with U.S. Work hours. To partially address this challenge, we are operating a swing shift that works until 1 a.m. Nepal time. But that still gives us only half-time coverage for our U.S. clients. So we, like other global companies, are considering alternate near-shore locations in Latin America to address the need for workers able and willing to work U.S. hours. Third, competence, boldness, and confidence in English language and business communication. Our clients and consultants communicate in English. They're looking for us to provide insight and advice to interpret their business data, and this requires a high level of English competence. Also, we find that our Nepali employees tend to be reserved and hesitate to speak up when they should be communicating their observations and opinions. To overcome communication challenges, we're screening carefully for English competence in our hiring process. And we continually train and push our consultants to be bold, to speak up, and to share their valuable knowledge and opinions. Fourth, strategic and analytical thinking. Educational systems could do more to develop analytical and critical thinking skills. This way of thinking is best developed early and consistently through a child's education. These skills are hard to discern during the hiring process and take investment and time and effort to develop. And finally, there is a relatively small number of accounting professionals in Nepal. So when you take that relatively small number of certified accounting professionals, you subtract from that those who are leaving to work overseas, subtract those with inadequate language or analytical skills, and then you add new outsourcing companies that discover Nepal is a premier location for outsourced services. Very quickly, there's going to become stiff competition for the best and brightest. There are opportunities for thousands of more accounting professionals in Nepal. I'm grateful for the efforts of this distinguished institute, for its role and efforts in opening those opportunities to the next generation of professional accountants. So, as a real example of an outsourced accounting in Nepal, I've shared with you a candid view of our company's strategy and our need for Nepal's best and brightest accountants. I also shared a few barriers that we and other outsourced companies face in moving as much work as we'd like to Nepal. Let me conclude. The accounting profession worldwide is evolving faster than at any time in history. Automation is rising. Global business is accelerating. Decision makers demand better insight, and outsourced accounting and finance is at the center of this transformation. Nepal is well positioned with talent, ambition, and a growing international trust. But the next leap requires bold investment in skills, technology, and strategic capabilities. Now CFO intends to be a good long-term citizen and partner to support this leap. The world is ready for Nepal to play a larger role in outsourced accounting and finance. The question is, are we ready to claim that role? Thank you, and I look forward to building the future together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hill. So I have noted few very important points from your presentation. that world is ready for Nepal, whether Nepal is ready or not. So I think we are ready, right? So that's why the Institute of Chartered Nepal has already started the global accounting initiative in Nepal in order to promote our people to probably jump into accounting outsourcing. So with this, I would like to start with the panel session. So, so we have seen that India has been doing very good in this accounting and auditing outsourcing. I think India is the one which has started accounting outsourcing industry per se in the world. So, so I think the story of India, the lesson which India learned over the period of last 10, 15 years is very important for us to grow in this sector in Nepal. So I would like to start the question with Mr. Dhaval. So India has built one of the world's largest accounting outsourcing ecosystem. From your experience, what system around talent development, quality control, and client trust enable that size? And what should emerging market like us, like Nepal, prioritize first? Thank you.
Good morning, all, and thank you, ICAN, for the opportunity. Thank you, Neil, sir. So let me start with the basics. So I would start like trust is a first factor which we need to consider when we work with the global accounting firms in the aspects for the outsourcing in terms of accounting and finance. So without trust, we cannot start with any kind of national building in terms of accounting and other part. So let me start with the journey of the Indian outsourcing. So Indian outsourcing, it's started mostly 3 decades ago in mid-1980s when India started certain things on data entry, payroll processing, and mid-1980s to early 1990s, such kind of basic stuffs outsourced to India for their day-to-day operations. But the movement shift when K2, Y2K movement and IT and BPO movements started in early 1990s and 2020. So after the certain 1980s Y2K movement, India accelerate their outsourcing vertical and the captive shared service concept initiated. Like the BPO and IT companies, they provide the IT stuff to the US, UK and Australia, the Western world. And they started the captive accounting part in the captive shared service concept. And that movement actually initiated the Indian accounting system. Then the movement of certain specialized accounting aspects. So early 2025 to 2012, the basic specialized accounting service initiated. So like from bookkeeping, payroll to FP&A kind of thing, M&A kind of thing. So the process beyond and transitions beyond from the bookkeeping stuff to certain level of initiative in which specialized like audit support is also a part of key outsourcing vertical. And the fourth movement initiated 2014 to 2019. Certain it's more towards the sometime like kind of something knowledge process outsourcing. So from BPO movement to knowledge process outsourcing. So like the CPA firm and direct clients want a certain things in the form of the knowledge inputs. They are looking tax planning, data analytics, the technology initiated things like RPA, robotic process automations. So how to we shift to certain like human errors, humans are bound to do certain errors, but system and technology are help, we can evaluate that part as a part of automation. In 2019, like pre-COVID, like India is ready for the digital world, like QuickBook Desktop to QuickBook Online. So shift from Quick Online systems already initiated. So entire decade of bookkeeping and 2 decade, 3 decade into 5 to 6 part. And now we seen like Nepal is also an important partner along with the India. So India is also facing good talent, frankly speaking. So India is struggle with the good talent. The Gen Z is not ready in such a manner. They are shortcut play. So definitely, I am sure with the help of Nepal, the young generation of the Nepal, young chartered accountant of Nepal, with the legacy of the ICAN, we can jointly take an initiative such things. And I'm sure we can accelerate. But one thing and one message I want to pass on to Nepal Chartered Accountant, we need to ahead of the trend. So trend and trust both together to change the bookkeeping and finance globally. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to put a question to Mr. Sarojji. So Sarojji has been doing very good in UK. I think they are one of the largest accounting firms in UK, Ireland, Scotland, and they have been doing very good in outsourcing to Nepal as well. So and I mentioned earlier also, UK and European firms are also having a lot of difficulties in developing pipeline, and there are a lot of regulatory risks also in auditing sector globally right now. So from your experience, how are these models designed in practice, and what determines whether a location is included in such global delivery networks?
Thank you, Neil, sir. I think in terms of how location is decided, there was actually a lot of materials in now CFO's presentation. But let me start with the operating model. So, so when we, like what from my experience, when I have discussion about outsourcing in Nepal, there is always a discussion of some kind of vendor model. There are actually two models of outsourcing. One is vendor models, the other one is integrated resourcing. So in the past, it may be that actually outsourcing in India, in other locations, started as a vendor model. But recently, what is happening, and now CFO is an example, the vendor model is being consolidated at higher level. And a lot of actually outsourcing now we see, they are actually integrated models. And there will be regional players because some of the vendor models have been concentrated in India. So in the future, as we develop in Nepal, maybe we will have concentration of vendor models in Nepal. But this moment of time, I don't think we are there yet. So at larger scale, a smaller scale, yes, we can have vendor models. Like when we are actually dealing with smaller accountancy practices, but at larger level, we are not there yet. So we have to actually perfect integrated solution method. So now, in terms of like what triggers, like what is the trigger? I think it has already been said. So the cost actually doesn't actually feature first. The trigger is the requirement of a capacity, capability. That's where it always starts. So once actually there is a requirement for capacity, then obviously locations are considered. So you have got all your traditional metrics, availability of talent, and trainability, like your security and confidentiality, and what kind of actually the quality architecture is possible. You're like in standardization, working papers, review layers, and that kind of thing, and the continuity and resilience. So now, but actually I want to actually talk about actually something which is actually not talked that much, and I don't want to actually repeat what has already been said in now CFO's presentation. So yeah, obviously we talked about actually Nepal having talent, but I want to add to that. So why we have talent and what kind of talent we have. And this is all coming from my experience. We came to Nepal about more than 10 years ago. We started with 5 people here. Now we have got 95. So when we came to Nepal, actually there was actually, outsourcing is actually hardly, it wasn't actually a word which featured in any kind of discussion. So from that actually more than 10 years experience, what I can actually say, and I have to actually, and I have to take this opportunity actually to thank ICAN as well. This profession, the accountancy profession in Nepal is still regarded as a very prestigious profession, and thanks. I have to thank ICAN to actually maintain that prestige. And what happens if it is a prestigious profession, then top talent will attract to that. Yeah. And that has happened. So when I actually compare, so if Western world, whether Europe or America, accountancy profession is not a top choice profession anymore. But Nepal, it still is. So because of that, as far as so what we're actually dealing with here is actually, so maybe actually when we actually talk about this profession in Europe and America, maybe we are attracting talent at this level. But here we are attracting talent at that level. So obviously talent at that level in any part of the world must be better than talent at that level. So what hasn't happened is actually those talents haven't had the exposure. That's where we are behind. Right? So now what we need to do is, obviously, as actually the industry grows, there will be a lot more exposure and talent will grow naturally. But having said that, I think we need to actually do something from beginning, from student and training days. Yeah. And few things which have been highlighted. One is obviously business communication. And I'm not necessarily talking about actually English language, because language is learned in context. For example, by profession, I'm tax advisor, and I do a lot of restructuring work. And that's the context I learned English language. And I still struggle, like when actually I have to actually use English in social context. Yeah. So I think the important message here is, yeah, so we learn English, but when actually it comes to work environment, business environment, yeah, we are not using that language. So we don't have the experience of English in that context. Yeah. And that is the reason when actually someone from abroad comes and actually have communication in that context, yeah, naturally they feel something lacking. So I don't know, maybe actually I've digressed to other areas as well. But when I talk about actually this industry, I'm very passionate, so forgive me if I have digressed. And now, as far as the cost side is concerned, now, at the end, like when actually there are a few jurisdictions identified, cost actually becomes a factor, definitely. But most of the time, what actually I have seen is actually the cost is looked at whether actually it is a facilitator. And so we don't necessarily actually list down all possible jurisdiction and thereafter, okay, this is the lowest cost. It doesn't happen in that way. Yeah. But actually, what is important in that context is something which is not talked about, is the familiarity. Yeah. Familiarity, and how visible the location is. Yeah. So sometime like actually, I just want to actually do the reverse of like actually my experience. So I'm the only Nepalese partner in my firm. So, and 10 years ago, yeah, we faced some recruitment challenge in the UK, and we were exploring. So we went to India as well. We tried something over there initially for a few months. And what we actually we tried the vendor model, and we quickly realized that's not going to work for us. Actually, it has to be integrated resourcing. So we need to actually have our own presence so that we can model it the way as per our requirement. So in terms of actually setting it up, we thought, okay, so obviously we had a choice because we already had some experience in India. So choice between India and Nepal. So, but we decided to come to Nepal. Why? Because of my familiarity to Nepal. Yeah. So now we need to actually think, so from actually the industry's perspective, how we actually make this industry in Nepal familiar to like the businesses who don't have that kind of familiarity. So far what you have seen is actually that the industry was in effect started by people of Nepalese origin working abroad. So that's how it started. So, but we need to actually expand that familiarity, and it is happening because especially in the UK, there is actually a lot of talk. And actually, I felt like something was likely to happen around July, August. But unfortunately, because of the events in September in Nepal, those actually kind of talk have actually slowed down. Yeah. But I think with time and especially after election, maybe actually those discussions will pick up. And I just want to actually add one thing, now presence of now CFO and other organization, and now Zenedin brand. Zenedin is top 16 accountancy firm in the UK by revenue. It's got more than 2,500 staff, more than 100,000 offices, and I think, yeah. So that kind of brand being in Nepal will add to that familiarity. So now, as far as the industry is concerned, now we have to actually. Sorry, the one more thing is the training. I think I touched on training and the language. And so, okay, if I have got time, I would like to actually add one more thing in terms of actually the professional knowledge. Now, so what we need to actually, as far as the professional knowledge is concerned, now my view is, and unless actually the professional knowledge is actually acquired and enhanced in that way, it will be very difficult to actually compete in the world which is actually coming because of automation and AI. Now, professional knowledge is, in my view, is knowledge which has been verified to the highest possible authority. But unfortunately, what has happened over a period of time, and it applies to everywhere, not an old profession, not Nepal, and not just accountancy practice. What has happened is actually, that has actually in a way gone away. And most of the time, what we call professional knowledge is like what actually we learn from the senior, what we heard somewhere, and what we read in commentary. But we need to change that. We need to actually change the style of training now. And if we do now, we will be ready to actually capitalize on changes, also changes which are coming. And it will be opportunity for us rather than the threat. So we really need to think about the training, the education, and how we do work, what we discuss, how we discuss. So all of that needs change now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarojji. So I'd like to move on to Mr. Raju Gujralji. So Raju Gujralji is he is the product of ICAN. So he qualified in 2007. So I think it's a proud moment for ICAN as well that the ICAN alumni are doing very good even in the international arena. So Rajuji, you are having your accounting firm in UK and having a delivery service in Nepal. So what expectations do client have on quality, turnaround time and communication? Further, where do Nepali firms need to improve in order to meet global standards for the outsourcing? Moment to take.
Hello. Thank you, Anil sir, for the question anyway. And I think I may be a little bit controversial because I was one of you and still one of you as well. And I actually did articleship in Nepal, qualified as a CA, worked in a bank for a year, then went to the UK, worked in different companies, then I started my one practice. And I still see lots of my friends has a firms here, and how we got trained in articleship has lots to do with what we think. And that contributes quite a bit why we are not even ready for lots of outsourcing job we do. And I think whatever I seen during my articleship back in until 2007 is still those practices present now as well. And although the industry has moved quite a bit. So, and obviously my background, I have a technology companies as well. Actually, one of the software company we already launched last year and actually expanding to the US this year as well. It's a accountancy practice management software from the starting from engagement letter to the client portal. So, and there's lots of things we do in the AI and all those things. So going back to the quality now, how Nepalese accountancy firms generally work. Like when I was working in, let's say, I'll share my experience when I went to the UK, the first thing, I only worked in Nepali firms and I had a technical knowledge. But when I started in a UK accountancy firm, I knew Davidson Credit, I knew IFRS, I knew pretty much whatever NFRS you say, but I couldn't present the information they wanted. Because the way we used to have audit working papers, for example, although we study ISA, for example, for audit, but we don't prepare any working papers. Obviously, you may say working papers, but it's actually not a working paper. We do to the client, do the green tick, it doesn't matter. That's not your working paper, that's a client's working paper. And even the lead solution, etc., still now, I'm like, one of the things we do, we prepare annual accounts in Excel spreadsheet. Industry has moved so much, and even there is not a proper account production software in the market. And another thing as articleship is we are more driven, compliance driven, like, okay, this is a client's problem. We go to the client, what's their problem, and then, discuss, but we are not problem solver. Because if you are like, even in my hiring, because we have over 150 staff in Nepal now, and in my hiring, what I found is somebody working in, let's say, like a Chaudhary Group or a bank, may have a better problem-solving skill than typical person who works in an accountancy firm. And why? Because in articleship or in firm, what we do is, okay, we do like, okay, let's find some issues. Let's find some issues for the management letter. And just the driven is not solving anything. And that mentality is creating huge barrier, what David said, in terms of, let's say, why we're not confident. And that obviously I exactly perfectly kind of align with, because I have office in India as well. The biggest difference between our Indian staff and Nepalese staff is Nepalese staff is better capable in every aspect, but they are not confident. They don't kind of take the responsibility. They don't try to solve the problem. And I think that comes down to how we are trained. And as an accountancy firm in Nepal, as a CA firm, most of the CA firm is still focused on audit. And there are few firms I know, obviously there I may have a gaps in understanding, but few firms, even who provide accounting service, is actually supplying the labor rather than accounting service. What does that do? Is you run on a traditional model of partners. You know, the partners getting the client, they have a relationship, and give it to like one kind of manager, and they have articles kind of around working there, deliver. There is no system thinking, because we are not thinking like, you have to think like a bank, for example. If you go to the audit for a bank or go to a corporate house, they have internal controls, they have processes, they have a software, and you have, if you change that mentality to run an accounting firm as typical, any bank you are doing audit, for example, and then suddenly you start to have, what you have first thing is, you need to have a software to manage your task. You need to have a software to produce your accounts. You have to kind of, that shift is needed. That's in terms of quality. The first thing I would say is make SOPs for every task you do. When you do, let's say some clients comes into the payroll process, what you do, for example, okay, the first step is request information to the client, then let's say maybe putting into, if you have a spreadsheet as a payroll software or a software, those processes needs to be defined. Every task, even the audit, for example, you know, what are the steps when you have the planning, when you go to the client to kind of request the information. And that's the biggest barrier in terms of the quality-wise I see in the kind of, you know, the process. So, and I think that's technology adoption is key in terms of kind of when you are making ready for the global stage. And it's not like accounting is not only audit. Audit is a very, very small fraction of the entire thing. Obviously, it's important because audit market in the global stage is mainly, you know, pretty much captured by big fours and, you know, of the top 20 firms. And audit, most of the companies in the UK or US doesn't need to do audit. That's not mandatory. Like, you know, there is like in the UK, for example, 10 million pound turnover. In the US, pretty much, if you are not listed or some required by banks, you don't need to do audit, for example. So that mentality of purely audit to then you start to think about the transaction, accounting, advisory, tax, and all those things is needed. And AI and everything gonna help quite a bit. And I think that's fundamentally shift is needed in terms of, you know, the improving the quality and processes around in that. And in terms of, you know, the client processes and etc., then you can align with, because there is expectation from the client. If you are saying you're going to deliver certain things on 30th of December, you have to already finish that internally by 25th of December, review everything done. And for that, you have multiple steps to do. And that process is extremely, extremely important, and that's going to help us to kind of, you know, grow and get ready for the global standard. And that's the kind of key, I think. Yeah, so broadly, I think that one message, I don't want to digress, there's too many messages anyway in this. So I think one key from me, if you want to take today, is go back, if you're working in accountancy firm or anywhere, please find those, just think back, you spend 1 or 2 days, okay, what exactly we do, and have that steps. These are the steps. And how we can automate in each steps, that comes into the second. Obviously, probably I can talk about technology later, how AI and everything come into play. But I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rajji. Hello. So, moving on, I would like to discuss again with Mr. Hill. So, gentlemen over here, Mr. Saroj and Mr. Raju, both are from Nepali origin. So, I'm sure. So they still have got Nepali citizenship, even if they don't have. They have got. They are Nepali origin people, right? So, but from your perspective, when you were thinking of having some offshore delivery center, so what made you choose Nepal as the delivery center for your company, now CFO? A, B, and what type of works are being outsourced by US clients right now? And the rise in outsourcing right now which is happening, is it only because of pipeline shortage? Is it only because of pipeline or talent shortages? Or is there anything which is making US firms outsourcing their operations to Asia or any other part of the world?
Perfect. Thank you. It's really interesting how we decided or how we arrived in Nepal. So first of all, our company needed some IT development, and we had a contact in Nepal. And so we set up an outsourced technical company first. So it was called Devfinity, and it operated here for a number of years. It grew to about 50 employees and was doing very well at providing IT services for our clients. And then we thought, why not try to push our accounting work to them? And so we started. We've only been at it a couple years here in Nepal, but we set up the team and started hiring. And it's been an interesting journey because we've tried very different approaches. First of all, we said we would hire a CA and tell the client, this is your person in Nepal, go ahead and use them. And that didn't work. It was hard to communicate and no direction, and the clients weren't willing to invest in that. And so last year we changed to a different model that seems to be working well for us. But now, like I explained, we're on a trajectory of growth. And so we've got to rethink again how we organize and use our team. It's not your question about what kinds of services and what kind of things clients are looking for. Again, it's about expertise anywhere in the world. So I love what you said about the different levels, right? I think the U.S. is coming down in the visibility of the profession and the capability, and I think international areas we're finding much more capable people. And so I think all of the services from, obviously in IT development, other process outsourcing, but in accounting, the full gamut from bookkeeping. I think a lot of that bookkeeping that we're trying to move over here eventually will be absorbed by AI, a lot of that transaction processing and things. But really it's that higher end analysis work that we anticipate, and just being able to think like an executive and providing that kind of information to those to the clients that need that.
Yeah, thank you. So, I'd like to add one more question along with this, whatever we're discussing. So, what are the three most important aspects when clients choose to outsource, maybe in a country like us, in a country like ours?
It's really interesting because, as I mentioned, because of the hour challenges that we're having, the overlapping hours, I've been tasked to look at a nearshore location in Latin America. So I'm going through that exactly. I'm looking for where is the best place to put another office for our company. And the things I look at, first and foremost, is government stability and ease of use. And their accommodation of businesses. If it's too hard to come in and fight governments, especially if there's corruption and difficulty in taxation. There's a lot of places in Latin America we just can't go because of that. And because of the political instability, we don't want to invest in a country that's not that's going to overthrow their leadership and change direction. And so stability of the government, definitely. Language capability is essential for us, and so I've been screening countries to figure out where the best language capability is. And we're struggling with that in Nepal as we hire, finding the best who can communicate very clearly. So communication, and then definitely cost is a driving factor. But really, and the depth of the talent, are we going to be able to grow and find the talent we need? So I'd say political stability, a depth of employees, and the language capability and cost.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. So I'd like to move on to Mr. Dhaval. So as you see, there has been a lot of change in the technology in recent days. So AI automation has been playing very important role in our profession. Moreover, it is. I mean, this discussion has been started in the direction that tomorrow the artificial intelligence may make our profession even absolute, right? So in this context, how Indian firms are using those AI automation tools in order to help outsourcing, and what kind of shift that we are observing in this direction in terms of implementing AI and automation in outsourcing market?
So can I stand up and say something? Okay. So technology, AI, certain automations plays an important role and is directly near to my heart. So I always, whenever such kind of topic, so I consider as a national anthem for me. So I always stand and speak on such kind of topics. So my understanding in terms of like, generally we understand the AI means generally we people use the ChatGPT and other AI related softwares. But frankly speaking, AI never replaced the accounting job. But definitely it's never we cannot sustain without AI. So according to me, AI plays an important role in aspects like fractional CFO. So generally people's in the early 20s, they use MIS reporting in the form of Excel spreadsheets. But such kind of shift directly to the Power BI dashboards, Looker, and any other softwares for automations. So like if we download lots of Excel sheets for the management information system, so like they are use their decision-making process is directly shift with the simple refresh button, and the entire, almost like every quarter they spend 8 days, 9 days, 10 days of the chartered accountant now shift to 2 hours and 3 hours. So such kind of technology shift with the help of is currently AI is highly important. Second thing is RPA. So we generally prepared lots of consolidations like AR reconciliations, AP reconciliations, bank reconciliations. Even though QuickBook and other softwares are already capable, like Sage, Xero, and other software are also capable, but lots of things we need to reconcile separately in Excel sheets. So such kind of RPA, robotic process automations like UiPath, Power Query. So use of such platform, we can, with the click of button, we generate an reconciliations and provide to the respective stakeholders. Third thing, technology plays important role in the practice management systems. So we always study like working papers is highly important. Reporting to our stakeholder is highly important. So suppose I give a live example. We are working with the UK counterpart CPA and US counterpart CPA. They want accurate timesheet because their cost is directly depend on two things. If the dedicated employee, then FTE, and then hourly base, then definitely timesheet is highly important. So we, as a part of JHS, we developed our own PMS system, practice management system, with the help of open source like SharePoint. So from the so they can more trust and confidence, like whatever work we pass on to Nepal or India or any part of counterpart, they can provide transparency in terms of hourly rate kind of things, so that every spend of money is utilized in the right direction or not. So even though they provide budgeted hours, so particular return or bookkeeping, they allotted like 20 hours for this kind of task, 40 hours for this kind of task, they spend properly or not with the help of such things, it's highly important. And second thing is task management. So right communication within within a team and even the counterpart, like the simply task pass on from US and UK to respective stakeholder in Nepal, they simply with the help of technology, they can track what is the status. So generally the system goes like that, every task prepared in the 3 forms: preparer level, reviewer level, team leader, and the partner review at the US and UK. So currently my task at which stage with which particular resource, so they can understand and what kind of a push we require. So such kind of technology, AI, and highly important for the overall growth. And last but not the least, the combination of right team. Like our seniors pass on legacy to us, but as a young chartered accountant, we need to plug and play, because the technology is cup of tea of the youngsters. So I would always appreciate if new age chartered accountant understand the technology as quick as possible, try to communicate with your seniors so we can scale, with the help of technology, we can scale the overall expansion of the firm. We can collaborate easily with the counterpart in US, UK, Australia, and that will help to overall growth in the journey of the global outsourcing and accounting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, just to inform the panelists, our idea is to make this session more informative. You can probably give your personal ideas also, so that people can use those ideas if they want to develop their practice in the field of accounting and auditing outsourcing. So we can be very open also. So now moving on to Mr. Rajuji. So Rajuji, being a Nepalese and Nepal-based service provider, so what are the 3 top priorities the Nepali firms or Nepal in terms of maybe talent, system, or client engagement we should focus on, to make our firms excel in accounting outsourcing, or in terms of our country doing better in accounting outsourcing?
Thank you, Neil sir. I previously briefly mentioned about some of the processes and quality around. So I'll go more deeper, because my background, because I initially, I could just give you one example. When I used to work in KPMG, I was the only one person doing audit for one big housing association, and I had 70 staff in Noida. And only staff, they had so much of talent shortage, and we had to deliver within 2 months. And how can that even possible to deliver an audit with just one person in the UK and having 70 people in India? Because that's because of the process. How you kind of systematize everything. And I previously, that's why I'm again and again coming back systematization, and that's so key. So for example, if you take my example, I have, as a firm, I'm the only partner. Because I don't run accountancy firm as an accountancy firm in traditional model, where there's partners has a relationship with the clients. I don't speak to any clients. I have a legacy client, I talk to them, but I run as a business. We have over 200 staff between India, Nepal, and UK. But how is this even possible? Because we have over 3,000 clients. Because of the system. And how you deliver consistent quality? Because that comes with the training and etc. So, and obviously, besides that, I'm working into quite a bit in AI. And David briefly mentioned what's the trend in the AI, and that we can capitalize in Nepal, because it's the recent movement. For example, if you take an accounting software, and I said to some of my hiring in Nepal, if you have 10 people in finance department in any company in Nepal, I will run with 1. Why? Because, what happens is, because that's the technology there. I'll just give you one example. So if you're receiving invoices from a customer, AI extract the data, obviously OCR technology use it, extract the data, automatically post into the software, and once you get the extraction data comes into there, AI-powered transaction classification model automatically classifies. If it's a like lawyer fee, for example, lawyer's name is there and the description there, it analyzes that, automatically posts to the legal fees, and then trial balance is already done pretty much. And in actual research, lots of, in the US as well, there is quite a bit of new accountancy software coming into the market, which actual accuracy is about 90% plus, which is better than human bookkeeper. And that means whatever we think about the traditional accounting, even starting from bookkeeping, is going to be done by AI. And forget about your accounts productions. Right? You charge, let's say, whatever fee for producing a financial statement for a client. That should be obvious because financial statement trial balance is, when you have a trial balance, there is fixed assets and all those different things. Actually presenting in financial statement is like, minutes job. And you shouldn't be like, you spend so many hours, this doesn't reconcile, that Excel formula doesn't work. And when you are involving into that, then you can't move on to the next phase, what's coming into the accounting. And whether you say, in Nepal maybe safer or whatever in the technology, it's going to have an impact. And if you use AI adapt now, then we have a significant advantage. For example, some of the old processes around, some of the other markets like India, maybe like already established that technology ecosystem, they may have difficulty adopting that because we don't have that yet. So you can start with AI-enabled system now. And that's why we have to kind of really use that and train that. And obviously, some of the problems we have is we even don't use cloud-based accounting most of the time. There are few software in the market, and we have to capitalize that for every kind of scale. And I think that comes with whether there are certain things AI can't do it, like for example, in terms of mathematical calculations, etc., in whatever the now CFO is doing in terms of financial analysis and etc. Software has to be kind of putting the right classification. And then what comes in, what you do then? If AI gonna do your bookkeeping, AI gonna prepare your financial statements, then what the CA gonna do? And I think I hear quite a bit from my friends, that's not CA's job, because in this modern world, your job is to have that insight. Once that information come into what that David said previously is, you have to understand the business context. What that information means, what's the KPIs coming into there, and what does that mean to particular industry? If you're working in a, let's say, healthcare industry, what the particular KPI is for. And that same way, I'll give you another example, how the audit is being gradually transformed in the global market is, audit is one of the AI's best use. Nominal ledger, even if you have like billions of data in terms of transaction going to feed into AI system looking into that, find the anomalies, and find a sample for you as well, everything, and that request information to the client. Client provides the, let's say, invoices and etc. AI compares that actual documentation part and then finds any anomalies. If you have, let's say, long lease agreement, let's say rent agreement or contract, you feed into the AI, it's going to pick into your rent figure is this much, rent deposit should be this, whatever is that, and then it already compares whatever should be there, and that part is done. You don't like go into vouching and all those kind of traditional approach. Suddenly that changed. The same with tax advisory. If you're doing advisory work nowadays, you kind of normal standard large language model, including ChatGPT and Cloud and etc., is much more capable to do those tasks already anyway. And that's how the accounting industry is moving. And this is like, I would say, the technology changes happening is the same significance as, industry revolution when the manufacturing that gone through for the professional services. And I think first thing you have to drop as like in the Nepal, quite a bit like I'm CA, I have a knowledge. Forget about your knowledge. Knowledge is fingertips now. Even if you ask me, I haven't read like Nepalese tax for like, 15, 16 years. But I can find an answer with ChatGPT in Nepalese case, probably best, the tax advisor. I'm not saying I'm better than them. I may not analyze that the same way. But that part where the hoarding of knowledge, okay, I have this proprietary way to do the things, and that's how you charge to the clients, and etc., is no longer a competitive advantage. And when you think about global outsourcing, that fundamental shift has to happen. And that's the kind of, in terms of the key. Then if you, David talked about quite a bit communication, Saurabh said about communication, etc., in terms of English and etc. Now, we have in our firm, what we have looked into, like say communication, let's say even email writing, typically really unprofessional email writing skills, most of the people you hire into. But now AI does a really good job. That part is gone. Like talking about like English communication skills. There are AI tool you can download in your phone, you can talk to them, and it's gonna feed you back. What's your feedback? Where are you making mistakes? Are you pausing it? Are you doing that accent thing, whatever you're doing? And there are tools available to upskill you quickly. And that barrier, whatever you had, no longer every process you can use AI in terms of the kind of upscaling you and being competitive in global stage. And we do, like in terms of our firm, pretty much every function, AI is essential. Use of AI is compulsory anyway, including accounts preparation, review of the, let's say, even personal tax return job, to annual accounts job, finding error. For example, I'm involved in tax as well. If some team member send me the tax report, first thing I do is upload it to AI, review it, review points comes into, I'm gonna send to the team first. I'm not gonna even spend the time. Some of the issues may be mistakes. I know that AI does lots of mistakes, but it's fine. And then rest of the technology stack, because I'm, as I previously said, we have developed in world-class kind of practice management software for accountancy firm, from from the initial engagement to AML to then up to the client portal in terms of the task, because that knowing exactly what involves, and exactly like if you think about one normal accounts preparation job when you're preparing financial statement, you may have first information from client, what exactly information you need from them. So there is no bottleneck there, so that, oh, this particular information, bank statement client didn't give, and all those things. And from that, then going into the individual task, going back, okay, bank reconciliation, for example, or going to, let's say, S debtors and S creditors kind of review and all those things. So all those processes, if you need exactly need it down, and then you can then allocate to the right person as well, and you exactly know when that task has to be finished. And if you control each task like that way, then your end job would be on the deadline. If you don't meet the deadline, that's like in the global standard, that's not, because in the Nepal I see quite a bit, the kind of, why I'll do it tomorrow, kind of that kind of attitude. And even giving the client, they give the deadline like every time when I deal, okay, I'll give you next week. And when you change next week, nothing happened. You change next week. That kind of cultural shift, whatever you're dealing with in Nepalese client, that doesn't work. Only deadline you meet is Push Masanta anyway, but I think, but you have to see Push Masanta every week, every month. And that sort of attitude, if you change that, then it's gonna kind of, fundamentally change, and we would be ready and competitive in global stage. And I think this is the time, and if you really do it, then you would be really stand out in terms of any other markets, because you're early adopters, you don't have any legacy memory of old systems and etc., because our profession in terms of global outsourcing hasn't developed that much, and that's where you beat. And then you can attract the more value-added kind of outsourcing, where, like, for example, CFO services, you have inside, then the cost-wise and your pay and everything, it's going to be quite much higher than if you're doing just bookkeeping, for example. Bookkeeping is needed, but even in bookkeeping, if AI does most of the job, if you review and find the issues, that's much more valuable than normal transaction processing. So that's how the shift is happening, and just just adopt the technology, every scales, and digitize your filing, invoices, all the records. For example, day one, we don't have a single piece of paper. We do everything from company formation to digital signature, everything digital. We don't have a single piece of paper, from engagement, digital signature, and an accountancy firm, which has more than 3,000 clients, we don't have a single piece of paper in our office. Certain things in Nepal are not possible because there are regulatory requirements, but many things in some processes needed. And that's the trajectory you're doing into, and I think upskill, and we have lots of tools available easily, and it's a global market, it's not like far, etc. And I think that's the message I want to send. Thank you.
Thank you, Raoji. So I would like to quickly move on to Sarojji. So the world is changing, the accountancy is also changing. A lot of automation is happening around the world, and more importantly, this accounting, a lot of automation is happening, a lot of AI tools are coming. So, and we are just starting the accounting outsourcing initiative in Nepal. So what a paradox. So, how do you see the role of human accountants in the era of AI and automation evolving within accounting outsourcing models? And what new skills will be very critical for the firms to remain competitive over the next decade.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think instead of actually trying to repeat what has already been said, again, let me try to say things which haven't been said or haven't been said in that way. So I think as far as the accountancy profession is concerned, the change has always happened. And if we actually really try to actually trace back this profession, I think this profession must have started, I think sometime after agricultural revolution. So it didn't have to actually wait even until industrial revolution. So there was some kind of actually record keeping and reporting requirement. So now, and since then, we have seen a lot of changes in this profession. Now, I remember when I was a child, we used to talk about, okay, so what does it mean being a chartered accountant? Oh, you can actually add up long list of numbers in no time. So that was the skill we used to talk about. So at some point of time, arithmetic skill was very important. Yeah. But again, calculator came, and we didn't need arithmetic skills anymore. So we have experienced change, and a part of the profession has always been collecting, retrieving, storing, integrating data, and thereafter reporting it in a required reporting output in a required format. Yeah. So initially, so all of that, needed arithmetic skills and some kind of actually format, reporting format, or the record keeping format, the storing format. And we have evolved, like we had actually ledgers and things like that, and we had actually, in terms of actually analysis of data, we had extended trial balances and things like that. But all of that has already been taken over by the technology. So, and so far what is happening was actually all of that skill which we needed for the profession, those skills were no longer needed, but the profession, but there was actually more work requiring other kind of skills. So that's what has happened so far. Now, but there is a big difference now, very big difference. Now, the first difference is this pace. All of those things actually gradually happen, and somehow actually we naturally adapted to the changing environment. But the speed of change now is staggering. So we need to do something because the natural adaptation will not be enough. So now I think about, because this profession actually existed all the time, so we haven't experienced something. Like when I actually think about actually other professions, let's say let's talk about actually the Industrial Revolution and scientific progress. So when you actually think about the early stage of that kind of profession, what we had was, like whoever was in that profession, they had to operate in cutting edge because there was no established practices, nothing. So they were actually operating at that stage. The profession started with actually working on cutting edge. Yeah. So now, what is happening, I think, to our profession is the reverse of that. So the profession has to actually now go back, this profession which never experienced that kind of actually the environment, we are going back to that. We need to operate at that cutting edge now. So this is our opportunity. Now, in terms of like actually what is needed, I think so many things have already been said. Yeah, so sorry, let me add one more thing. So there is one more threat I actually forgot, and not threat, actually different kind of change. So far, technological progress we have actually we have seen is all about actually the numbers, formatting, and that kind of thing. But the language was still our tool, like when there is a report writing and things like that. So that was like, we were safe from that side, we were needed, but now the language has been actually, a large part of language is taken over by the technology. Yeah, because of, by these large language models. So, but so why actually, why am I talking about actually cutting edge? Because there are actually certain things which we do, and which actually doesn't actually require language, or language doesn't help. Yeah. It's critical thinking. Yeah. Use of judgment, because the process we have to actually go through in our mind, we can't even actually consciously describe. So the language is not going to help when we talk about judgment, when we talk about critical thinking. And that's where we have to excel. So in a way, like unlike some of other professions, so they started from the critical as established practice, and then there are a lot of actually room in the profession just to actually follow the established practice. But now, in our profession, we are experiencing that early stage now, at later stage of actually the development of our profession. I'm not sure whether I answered the question or not, but I didn't want to repeat what had already been said. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. So, so we are coming to almost closer to the first session. So I would like to ask one common question to all the panelists. So if you see our South Asian economic landscape, we have all the South Asian countries missed the first industrial revolution. So, and we missed second industrial revolution as well. Coming to the third industrial revolution, somehow India tried to grab that third industrial revolution of ICT and all. And right now, this is a time of fourth industrial revolution, AI, automation, and global service delivery. One of the key important aspect of fourth industrial revolution is global service delivery. And I think accounting, auditing, IT outsourcing are one of the most important aspects of that fourth industrial revolution. India is already catching up. I think they are even outpacing that revolution. And Nepal, we are trying to catch up. We're trying to catch up. So our initiative of this global accounting initiative, which is initiated by Nepal, is basically one of our idea to catch up with that fourth industrial revolution, at least in this sector, at least in the sector of accounting, auditing, service outsourcing part. So from your experience, so what are the major challenges in Nepal as a nation for to become the hub of service delivery? And what could Nepal do in order to attract more investors in this sector? And what Nepalese firms should do in order to make them equipped with all the requirements of becoming the global service delivery centers? I will start with Mr. Hill.
beyond what I've said about Nepal being able to continue to build the skill, build the creative thinking, build the technological aptitude, building the English language for helping the United States or other countries, I think those are very key things. I think the idea of being recognized, right? How do we let the rest of the world become familiar? And so advertising campaigns perhaps, and just great word of mouth from those who are, it's hard because I don't want other companies to find out that Nepal's successful, because I want all your best and brightest for me. So, but yes, we want to see Nepal grow, and yeah, just getting word of mouth. I think especially the accounting, the people that we're working with, letting our clients know that Nepal is doing their work for them, then that spreads they see the success of using Nepal, and as they migrate to other businesses or other companies, they can take that knowledge with them that Nepal is a great location for outsourced services.
So Nepal is basically known for tourism. The big chunk is also coming from the tourism. So my suggestions, if the government is more focused on accounting tourism, let's invite the CPA firms globally. Let's provide them platform. Like Nepal is not behind like any other countries, and we are stand in such a manner like we have young force with the right talent, with the right mindset. It's completely on the mindset game. If we think positively we are ready, then definitely we are ready. So my suggestions, let's promote accounting and finance outsourcing tourism kind of stuff. In India, last decade, they focus on medical tourism, and similar pattern, if the Nepal can shift the mindset from simply tourism to the accounting tourism, then definitely it will be the game changing for the Nepal. And one more thing, focus on beyond bookkeeping. Frankly speaking, bookkeeping will be not attract any of the CPA firm. Focus on new age practice like various automations, reconciliations, automations, new age practice like valuations, due diligence, various stuffs like SEC compliance, because they want such kind of talent from the Asia Pacific countries, because they are looking for, and they have really shortage of, typically in US, UK, both they are shortage of right talent. And if we punch on that direct scarcity to the opportunity, then definitely Nepal will play an important role in the expansions for the simply tourism to the accounting and finance tourism. So such kind of things I will promote. Thank you.
Okay, from my point of view, I may be a little bit controversial as well. I think some of the things, I think government level, I will share one experience. When we opened a subsidiary in Nepal, I had quite a bit of senior CA in my team. I had a lawyer in my team. It took 2.5 months to get approval from, although we say one stop, we have FDI solution. In India, it happened in 2 days. So it's not because you don't have a law, it's the mentality, what we do. And that comes across every spectrum, what happened to COTVT, what happens to DTA cancellation in Mauritius, although you may agree or disagree, but that sends certain signals and messages. What we think as a kind of, as a government in terms of foreign investors and etc. And few talks and I have happened like in terms of FDI in general as well, is there is no history of expatriating any dividend. If somebody tried to expatriate dividends, then suddenly it becomes a political issue. And even like what happens to Dolma Fund, Impact Fund and all those things. So I think in generally regulatory wise, we have to, obviously whoever I approach to the government in generally is making that more easy and seamless. And anybody trying to register that kind of things, that comes into that. And the second thing, obviously, David briefly mentioned about as well is the time zone, which as a Nepal, although we want it to be, in UK is not as difficult as in the US, we can have office up to 9 o'clock and probably have a match time, but still you can't do it because you don't have a night kind of thing. Whereas in India, it's pretty much easy. In India, works exactly UK timing. In Nepal, it's not possible. We have done up to 7 o'clock, but and that kind of, some of the things in terms of shifts around, in terms of times, how do we make that kind of more easy so that it becomes normal practices to have working a little bit later. Now, coming back to the English language in general, I think the bigger part in my things is not exactly even English language, it's about confidence, even delivering that what we already know. We are generally quite hesitant. I say to lots of my staff and everything, because we are grown in like, okay, Babu, don't do anything until you do masters and all those things, don't work. And whereas the Western culture is you start to work from even 18 years old or whatever, you start to work, and that provides lots of exposure, even if you work in restaurant, for example. In our culture, culturally, we don't let our kids to do work until they do masters or CA or all those things. CA has a lot of some experience around, and I think that confidence going into, and that obviously exposure gives the confidence as well, because when it's more and more outsourcing firms is there, and I think, again, I would say use AI to improve that, because AI can become your personal coach. You can download an app in your phone if you want to learn American accent, for example, or how do you American business context. They kind of communicate. And I think as Saurav previously said, it's not purely about social kind of English as well, it's about professional English. You already know how the accounting terms and etc., but we may not know exactly how that term is presented in UK or US and things like that. I'll give one example. I knew, the like S debtors and etc., but in my first interview question in the UK, they say, debtors control account. I did not know what was debtors control account. I knew because of the terminology, and sometimes that business terminology, what they say, that's you already know, but that communication gap is that exposure and kind of the AI and etc. helps into. So I think it's the regulatory cultural shift around, and then the new age of AI. It's not about knowledge. It's about how you perceive and how you solve a problem. That analytical skill where, okay, knowledge can be easily gained, but have you had that skill set where you try to solve, you try to kind of meet within deadline, you become accountable to kind of that particular deadlines and etc. And that taking responsibility, accountability, and generally problem solving skills, that's going to be more key. Knowledge is important because without knowledge that doesn't come into, but it's not the same advantage as before where knowing IFRS or debits and credits and all those things, yeah, that's important, but it's not exactly the same significance now. And I think take the advantage of technology and generally, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Saurav, sir.
Thank you. Now, again, I think a lot of things have already been said. So I think, yeah, maybe a couple or maybe three points, actually, I want to make. The first of all, now, as far as the talent pool is concerned, the talent, I think we have got plenty. So I think that the only question is the readiness of that talent pool. Now, and that's where, because I think when we came here and we realized, like, actually what we need for that talent pool to be ready is there has to be industry here. And if there is an industry, because it will not be like some competitor will come and actually dip into the resource which we can use. And so we're thinking of actually it will expand the talent pool available. So we will also have expanded talent pool. So and like in a smaller scale, we have been doing that. Like we were in contact with, trying to actually help each other and try to actually create industry. But I think by the looks of it, I think we need more effort. Maybe actually we can actually have some kind of collaboration with all the existing operators and see how we can grow this industry so we all have larger talent pool. So it will not be like actually someone will take what we got. We all have more. I think that's where we can do some work, in my view. And other points is minor. So we need actually some predictability, especially when it comes to compliance and administrative side. Because there are still a lot of confusion in terms of actually what we need to do, when we actually go, whenever we have interaction with authority here, we are not all certain all the time what our obligations are. So more clarity and predictability, like, because, and it may be, this is the only controversial thing, actually, I think I'm going to say. So I was amazed by the way the treaty with Mauritius was cancelled. There is nothing for me to benefit. I have got nothing in Mauritius. But I'm just actually thinking of, like, when things like that happens suddenly, there will be actually no confidence in terms of, like, what we can expect in Nepal. What else can happen? Yeah. So we need some kind of actually the confidence in actually what we can predict. So, and I'm not, and as far as and a lot of these things, because I'm a great believer in like systems, because there is always talk about actually system produces progress. But I believe in progress and system come together, hand by hand. As we make progress, we will have better system. Yeah. But having said that, yeah, because if we have already identified like areas of system where we can actually make changes now, then we should be doing that, not wait for the progress to come.
Yeah, thank you so much, panelists. Sorry for the disturbance. So before we sign off, I'd like to summarize the important. There is acute shortage of accountants everywhere in case of developed economies, and we are producing it. We are producing it in good numbers. And cost only is not the criteria for the selection of outsourcing destination. I think quality is also very important. And it is very good to note that our accountants are as good as the CPAs of US. But then challenges remain. There are a lot of challenges. I'd like to highlight few which has been discussed in this session. The first and foremost is the political instability, political uncertainty. So we are very hopeful that after this election, the political scenarios in Nepal will be very good. And we are very hopeful that this political system will be mature enough so that, I mean, it will be more stable sort of economy in the coming days. Second, very important challenge that we have is the mindset. So I think we have to change the mindset. We should be doers rather than complainers. So we should be go-getter sort of, go-get-it sort of personality that we have to develop. And the another problem that we have that was discussed is that round the clock work shift is still not happening in Nepal. So I think we have to embrace that system as well. The other important challenge that we as a country is facing is that our population has got good English speaking skill, but then they lack confidence and boldness. So I think we have to work on this aspect also in order to make our country another, another big accounting outsourcing hub. The other important challenge that we are facing is predictability of the policy, which is rightly raised by Sarojji. Yes, we have got a lot of issues in our policies, so it keeps changing, and it is not pro-investors, not pro-business. So we have to work a lot. I think we have got few delegates from a lot of authorities over here, from our government and a lot of ministries over here. So I think they are hearing it and hearing it very loud that we have to have policy certainty in order to progress. The other problem that we have is we have got a small number of qualified chartered accountants. So we are working on this front also. We are upgrading our curriculum, and we are reviewing our exam systems and everything so that a good number of accountants will pass the CA exams as well. And the other very important is skilling part. So we are considering not only chartered accountants or chartered accountant students as the possible pipeline for the accounting outsourcing job. We are also considering around 1.4 million accounting graduates, commerce graduates also from universities as the pipeline for the accounting outsourcing work. So, but then on those kind of workforce, we have got a lot of skilling issues. So skilling is another very important area. It's a challenge also, and it's an area where we have to work a lot upon. So ICAN is considering this challenge very seriously, and we have been discussing with the Ministry of Finance, even with the development partners also, as to how we can probably start skilling projects in Nepal so that all these 1.4 million people will be used for accounting outsourcing jobs. And apart from challenges, we have also heard some very good recommendations from our panelists. The first and foremost is advertisement. The branding is very important. So country branding. So we have kept country branding as our first and foremost priority as a part of GAIN project. So I think we'll listen that those things in coming session also. And other important thing is that great word of mouth is also very important. People who are already working in this accounting outsourcing industry should start talking a lot about Nepal, spreading good things about outsourcing happening in Nepal. And another important thing that we should do is we should think positive. We should have, we can do in our mind. And another important topic being raised by Dhavalji is accounting tourism. This is quite a new word for me, accounting tourism. So I think we should explore these areas also as to how we can develop accounting tourism in Nepal. And Rajuji rightly mentioned we should think beyond bookkeeping. So we have to focus more into more valued sort of work for the accounting, not only for the bookkeeping part. So with all this very important takeaways from our distinguished panelists, we have come to a conclusion that the first industrial revolution is happening right now, and yeah, hello, sorry. So we should not miss the fourth industrial revolution. The stage is set. We have got very young and energetic English-speaking population. We have got the stage is set. So अब हामीमा छ वेदर हामीले चाहिँ तपाईको अहिलेको यो स्टेजमा गएर डान्स गर्न सक्छौँ या सक्दैनौँ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हामीमा अन्तर्निहित छ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले मलाई के लाग्छ भने अहिलेको फोर्थ इन्डस्ट्रियल रिभोल्युसन भनेको चाहिँ सरकारले गर्ने भन्दा पनि हामीले गर्ने हो। यो चाहिँ किनभने यो अहिलेको इन्डस्ट्रियल रिभोल्युसन भनेको इट इज मोर इन्टु डिजिटल, आर्टिफिसियल इन्टेलिजेन्स, ग्रिन टेकको र सर्भिस आउटसोर्सिङको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ यो चाहिँ हामीले गर्ने हो। यदि अहिलेको यो रिभोल्युसन पनि हामीले मिस गरियो भने भोलि हामीले चाहिँ तपाईँको सरकारले केही गरेर भनेर भन्न पाउने छैनौँ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले मेरो सम्पूर्ण साथीहरूलाई अनुरोध के छ भने हामी सबै जुटौँ, यो वा त्यो भनेर, यो इन्स्टिट्युट या त्यो इन्स्टिट्युट भनेर, यो संस्था वा त्यो संस्था भनेर एक आपसमा आरोप प्रत्यारोप गर्ने भन्दा पनि एउटा कमन गोलको लागि चाहिँ हामी सबै एक ठाउँमा बसौँ। चार्टर्ड एकाउन्टेन्ट्स, युनिभर्सिटी पास हुने ग्रेजुएट्सहरू, एससिजिएहरू अथवा चाहिँ नेपालभन्दा बाहिरका चाहिँ इन्स्टिट्युटबाट सिए गर्ने साथीहरूदेखि लिएर नेपालभन्दा बाहिर गएर काम गर्ने सम्पूर्ण नेपालीहरूलाई मेरो अनुरोध के छ भने हामी एकै ठाउँमा बसौँ, जुटौँ र नेपाललाई चाहिँ यो चौथो इन्डस्ट्रियल रिभोल्युसनबाट चाहिँ नपर्ने जुन खालको सम्भावना छ त्योबाट रोक्नको लागि चाहिँ हामी सबै हातेमाला गरौँ र काम गरौँ, यति भन्न चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद। थ्याङ्क यू सो मच। So yeah, sorry. So if you have any questions, we have got 10 minutes left. मैले 10 मिनट चाहिँ नाफा गरेँ भनेर सोचिरहेको थिएँ. So questions and answers बाँकी नै रहेछ. So if you have any questions to any of the panelists, so you can raise your hands. We will take only 5 questions. Thank you.
Nepali peoples need to change the mindset, ask as many as questions.
And that's the confidence issue we raise. That's going to prove. If you don't have 5 questions, then that confidence is what David said, we say, that's proves the point.
Good morning, everyone. A small feedback from my side. I think it would have been jewel on the crown if we had a brief introduction about the project itself, GAIN project, for all of us to know in the beginning of this program. That's a small feedback from my side. But my question is to CA Thawal Kumar Deepak Thakur. See, in Nepal, what we said, we have a roti beti ka rishta with India. So we look to emulate a lot from India because of the various similarities. So when we are saying for outsourcing, why Nepal? So the first question I think that I would like to ask you is, why India? When India started becoming this hub of accounting, outsourcing for the entire world, along with Philippines, I think the major players. Was it the available talent pool? Was it the the 24-hour shift that was available? The easier regulations? So maybe ICAN as a stakeholder also, they may be able to facilitate and take those into consideration while we take this project up. So when we ask why Nepal for outsourcing, so my question to you is why India? Say like 10, 15 or 20 years back.
First, I will ask the first question. The first question's answer is that we have got second session dedicated for Global Accounting Institute of Nepal. Basically, that will be discussed with the Ministry of Finance and Development Partners Forum. That's why we have not discussed much about GAIN. I have just taken reference of GAIN. Thank you.
So definitely, why India? So the reason behind India is a population, it's in strength ideally. So India currently have young age populations, young talent, more than 80,000 chartered accountants. So many times population is not a problem statement, it's an opportunity in today's world. So same scenario I am seeing right now in the eyes of Nepal Young Chartered Accountants. So India is, due to certain reasons, like definitely English communication is first thing. Adoption of the new age practice, mindset and technology. India plays an important role due to the India soft power in the form of IT is already emerged in the US field. So outsourcing not alone, so without the help of other industries like IT, manufacturing, we cannot grow simply bookkeeping and other outsourcing. So, and foremost thing, stability of the government is highly also important, because I play a certain role in CMO, Chief Minister Office, and PMO, Prime Minister Office. And I know the behind scene. We chartered accountant play an important role in the policy drafting, implementation of the policy, which includes IT and definitely bookkeeping and all stuff. So stability of the government is also play an important role. And from this platform, as a neighboring country, and our Honorable Prime Minister always believe in the neighboring countries to give us certain back to society kind of thing. So as a JHS, we invite 5 chartered accountant firm from Nepal to understand what India right, what things India right for the outsourcing. So come to our Center of Excellence, which is in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Spend 4 days, 5 days with your young team, young chartered accountants, and understand from where the business will come, how to collaborate with the CPA partners, what kind of confidence they actually need, because confidence play an important role in the pillar of the such kind of outsourcing vertical. So as a JHS, I will open-heartedly invited 5 of the firms. We spend our team, our knowledge process will definitely is pass on to your team. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, this is Praveen Karn, and we have discussed a lot of problem about policy inconsistency in Nepal and corruption, and even I think we lack somewhere in infrastructure for outsourcing, because IT is one of the base that requires for outsourcing services from global arena. So within all these available parameters, where we are placed right now to invite global services in Nepal and delivery from Nepal, considering more on inconsistency in policies and corruption in IT laws, and even IT laws inconsistency, like we have seen Protiviti cases and other cases in recent past. So what do you think that what we should do to invite the global investment in this outsourcing business in Nepal for, say, outsourcing tourism or accounting tourism? Thank you.
So actually, I'm not able to see the who is the speaker. Can he? Okay. So question to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
For accounting tourism.
Okay. So definitely we need to go beyond the corruption level. It will come and go. So let's individuals stand up for the global expansions. We always seen there is a scarcity. Definitely there is an opportunity. Think on that aspects. Global and tourism accounting is a keywords basically, like GCC setup, Center of Excellence. So let's try to set up a Center of Excellence in Nepal. Center of Excellence, it's not only for bookkeeping, it's beyond the bookkeeping. Provide end-to-end service line, give confidence to your counterpart, your stakeholders, and definitely investment attracts. India seeing currently lots of P investment right now coming to Indian CPA, Indian KPO. So definitely such shift coming to Nepal as well. But once we focus on Center of Excellence, provide end-to-end service, all the boutique of services under one roof, then it's feasible. Thank you.
So I think the question is more into, given that the kind of political instability that we have, so how do you convince the investors to come to Nepal for accounting outsourcing? That is the question. I think Mr. David is the right person to answer, or maybe Mr. Soros can answer. Yeah. Since you are the investor, you are already having investment in Nepal. So how do you convince yourself to invest in Nepal, given that we have got a very high-profile case of Kotiviti, right? So I think you are the right person to answer. Thank you.
Very good question. And it's interesting that we, as we said, we attracted an investor, and it happened right before the protests in Nepal. And that scared our investor. And so they've said, we don't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. We don't want to have 100% reliance on Nepal. So they have said, you need to diversify, find another location. But as you look around, even though there are protests, Nepal's a stable place. And you're going to come through those elections just fine. You're going to continue to attract business. And so, again, just having a stable place that's helpful to businesses and thinking of the future. And really, people in the government, there, like you said, there's a lot of bureaucracy and confusion about what's really, we hear a law, but we don't know if it's really supposed to be implemented, or we can, anyway, we're always consulting with lawyers to figure out what how to interpret the law. And so having people thinking specifically as they're making those laws, how do we structure this for international business? But at the same time, I've got to say, my country is the most disruptive and least predictable in business decisions right now. They're terrorizing the world, so I don't have a leg to stand on.
So I just want to add actually something now, and it's, we got those challenges, and those actually we need to change those. That's for sure. So, but at the same time, I think we, all the operators in this industry, and everyone in this profession, if there are actually those kind of challenges, then that's the environment we are operating in. Okay, so that means an obligation to succeed, whatever environment we have been actually given is in ours, it's no one else's. So we only have got two things we can work on. If we have got any influence in change in environment, then continues to use that influence. But until that environment changes, whatever way we have to succeed in this environment, that obligation is on us. And the environmental factors are negative, the obligation is even more to succeed. Yeah, so the only thing I want to say is, okay, let's accept the environment, influence the environment, and let's work together. And it's not like, and I think we should start saying less someone else didn't do something. Let's actually start to actually say we didn't do something, we didn't achieve. And let's work in that way.
Thank you. So do we have any other question?
Yes.
So I'll take, yeah.
Okay. So my question is to Mr. Raju Kajurel, sir. I was wondering that what drives you to UK back then? Because at that time, chartered accountant regarded as very good social status and financially in Nepal. So what drives you to UK? And another thing you mentioned many times, that confidence. So what confidence plays you to excel in UK? And also, you mentioned that the approval process comparison to India and Nepal. So what are your suggestions to make that easy to Nepali government and all the representatives from the Nepali government?
Thank you. So what drives me to the UK in 2009? I just wanted to explore the world, and obviously, the initial thought was to come back anyway. And I said to my friends, lots of friends who said, we still have a practice here. I said, if I was in Nepal, I wouldn't be able to open an accountancy practice. It was, even now it has been like pretty much captured by some big, unless I do like different escalators, etc. Most of the banks audited by a few firms, and most of the big projects I enjoy and all those things, a few things. But in the UK, I was able to do it just because of my capacity. And in here, I had to do lots of things in relationship and all those things. I have to spend quite a bit in Nepalese context. So, and now going back to what kind of made, obviously, one of the things, exposure, obviously. I would be like, when I was going to the UK, I wasn't confident as well. And I accept that. Initially, I was really kind of hesitant to speak to clients and all those things. That exposure kind of gradually kind of moved you back, because we are grown up in that way. Because we don't like, although we go to client and talk to the clients and etc., but we are not kind of forthcoming in all those things. And then the reason you said about how I succeeded, because we have over 3,000 clients now, quite a bit, etc., is providing an excellent service. And I said one of the things I again come back systematizing, looking at those individual job into broken down into pieces. As software developer, for example, broken down into different kind of processes around. The same way each accounting job, even the simplest one, even something which is done in 1 hour, there's multiple steps. If you try to look into that, then you start to say, wait, what the client value the client is getting. If it's just preparing accounts, filing, everybody's going to do that anyway. What exactly you provide? It's compliance. Anyway, you have to do it. Your audit, you have to do it. Any bank audit, you do it. Everybody has to do it. So they choose it just because you have relations with etc. What extra you get? If you can provide some value, even in a Nepalese market, as a business person, gonna select somebody who is gonna provide more value to them as an accountancy firm. And they're not gonna just choose because you know that person. And you have to start to think beyond that compliance kind of mindset. Okay, as David said, when the business has to make some decision, they need insight on the futuristic decision. And if you provide really well, then that obviously gonna stand out. So obviously, exactly the UK one, slightly different, but saying that it's still that same Samson model you can adapt. And the day one I opened the accountancy practice, I didn't want it a CA firm. I wanted a business. Business the same way as a bank operates, same way as the group operates, for example, the same way, that kind of thing. That means, as I said before, I don't deal with client. My people deal with. And that means I need to build a system, I need to build my talent, and kind of that thought is needed, because when you have to scale. And what was the last question? I think I comparing like India and Nepal kind of FDI process. I think what I find fascinating in Nepal is kind of although we have a law and everything. I'll just give one example. We go into the Department of Industry, and they said the proposal, and the proposal had electricity consumption is one of the kind of factors. Why you put this in like units? Put in kilowatt. And okay, we got a kilowatt. Then he said, why did you put in your objective human resources? Are you a manpower? And then there is another like back and forth. I'm just saying the thought process they have, although they have a clarity around what FDI should be, because pretty much there is a kind of process, but they doubt everything, and we have to like change that so much, the mentality. I think it's about a shift in the kind of our mindset, because I think the general mindset in every government office is businessman is like corrupt, and I think that mindset comes from an unless you promote the entrepreneur, like they can really create a value without doing any dodgy things. That fundamental belief, and I think all the law was there, everything was there, and we prepared a proposal, everything complied, because we didn't use any other agent, etc., because we know that pretty much is straightforward. We complied with everything, but it took 2.5 months back and forth. As I said, I had a like senior CA in my team, lawyer and everything, and that mentality, if the same aspect, like, if like, somebody foreign entirely coming into, what message we are sending? All the law is there, but it's the execution. And that's on clarity, whether it's a cotivity case and everything. Law is there. When I studied the VAT Act, that case is nonsense, obviously, but the court can decide something else. If like court were to decide something against cotivity, we have to close the shop tomorrow and we'll do India or somewhere else. All of us kind of, David, all of us gonna close that kind of company. We are in the same kind of, the kind of operational model. So, but that uncertainty means, you have to build some extra somewhere else the backup plan. We are dependent as David, we are dependent in Nepal. That's why we had to do India office as well. We're exploring some other jurisdiction around as well. But that thing's gone and less and more thing is like political uncertainty. If something happens, if somebody happens, internet got down or shut down, something happens, then you kind of, you can't say anything to your clients, there's a deadline. So, and I think when there's more certainty, that means it's provide more kind of things to expand. So I think it's the combination of factor, but I think in terms of policymaker, we have to kind of really push into as a Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nepal, as a group and etc., to make that clear and certain so that foreign investor in the sector can come easily, not only on the law, not only on regulation, but actually the process and execution. And there's a timeline. If you don't approve within 5 days with a reason, why? And that kind of process, I think we have to kind of go into deeper. And as a process person, as a CA, we are trained on that, and we have a duty to kind of guide our kind of regulators around so that have that certainty, I think. Yeah, thank you.
I was planning to make profit out of this session, but say time already out basically. So I'll take 2 questions only. So from there, question mic, please. There.
Can I speak? Can I ask my question?
Yeah, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uwe Kumar Shrestha. I'm from Pokhara. First of all, I would like to thank ICAN for this wonderful initiative. Secondly, I would like to thank all the moderators for the wonderful insight. I would also like to invite you to Pokhara. It's a beautiful city. My takeaway from this session is, of course, there are a lot of opportunities, and there are lots of challenges as well. Language barrier, business communication, confidence, round-the-clock work cycle, technical gaps, procrastination culture, transparency, accountability, and systems. My question is, let's say I work past all these challenges. I start a team of 10 to 15 people to capitalize on this initiative. The first question is the number too small? If yes, what's the right scale? What's the right number? And secondly, after that, after I pass on, crack these challenges, how do I move ahead from there? Whom do I contact? Where do I reach out? How do I start the journey? That's my question. Thank you so much.
Any panelist can answer the question because I think he is related to your business.
I'll try, but I don't know how to answer that question because what we, I think, yeah, so we know how we did it. But actually all circumstances are unique. So effectively, if I correctly understood, is you have got a setup, you have actually built that capacity, how you would market that to overseas businesses and customers. I guess that's your question. Yeah. I think, first of all, I have to start with, unfortunately, that's the obligation you have, finding answer to that question. And the obligation is entirely yours. I have to start from there. Yeah. And the second is, now if you actually require any help, any assistance, and if you have approached someone and they are looking for references and things like that, we can help. Yeah. So we can only help you when you actually prompt us to help you. Rest is your obligation, unfortunately. It rests on your shoulders.
I'll just add some points in here. I think what we try to do, for example, I'll just give an example. Every kind of, the week we'll I get like over 10 emails for outsourcing firm, from India mainly, and with this crowded thing. And I think one thing anybody kind of starting outsourcing can do is don't focus everything. Like, for example, now CFO is focused on CFO services initially. They're like downward kind of integrating. The same way, either it's a service, either it's an industry. Just focus on a needs, some expertise you have. Like, let's say, if you're focusing on real estate sector, or let's say financial services sector, or can be like particular, let's say, the CFO services. And then you stand out. Because if I had a need as an accountancy firm owner, I have a need on, let's say, really well systematized bookkeeping service, you can deliver every time in things, then I will start to look into, and in terms of approaching that, the email generally nowadays is not as we delete it anyway, it's got to spam and everything. And obviously, you can, try to approach even email in a nicer way. There are lots of tools around, having that expertise into the website and all those things. Then obviously, try to find a creative way to reach out there. Sometimes it can be even postal, sending a letter in a post or sending a brochure, but that's going to go into the bin unless you have something value proposition for that form. Unless if you're approaching now CFO, you have to have that particular CFO kind of things. If you're approaching my firm, and if I'm looking at the tax advisory, you have to have a value proposition for, okay, we do the tax this way, which presented in my language. And you do operation. Now AI makes that quite easy because, and then before approach, just don't do blanket generic letter or email to that person. You can do a little bit research and then customize that letter. Things like posting letter is not difficult nowadays, technology. Even in the UK, for example, you can upload online and letters can be posted. In the US, same thing. And not only email, because that's why I said post, because email is thrown out, post a little bit less likely nowadays. But there are kind of other alternative going into the fair and conferences around, making that networking and all those things. So there can be multiple ways, but first find what exactly you're offering that stand out of the crowd. Crowd is so much, there's thousands of forms, as I said, 5 or 10 emails every week I receive from outsourcing firm. And that's the kind of key. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have got dedicated session for this topic. So we'll listen to the success stories of our practitioners who are already practicing in Nepal. So I will move on to another question. So there is one lady who is raising her hand.
Hi, this is Ayushma Arya, and I'd like to thank ICAN for taking this initiative and organizing such a tremendous program. So my question has been pretty much answered, but on top of it, I'd like to ask Mr. David Hill as to where do we lie on the value chain, and what could be, if we do the SWOT analysis of current chartered accountants and other accounting practitioners at Nepal. So what part of the value chain we are best at, and where we can focus providing our services as of current scenario? So that is the question I want to ask.
Great question. I think you have the capability to deliver anywhere along that value chain. You've got resources that are not necessarily CAs, but great accounting professionals that we are trying to bring in to do that bookkeeping and accounting. At the same time, we want technical experts that can come in and help us to adopt AI. And we've seen great intelligence, great analytical ability to be able to provide that high level work. And so I think the skill is deep enough here to provide all of those services. And so I think that's one of the things we love about Nepal. It's not just a bookkeeping location. You've got great talent to provide value along that entire value chain.
Yeah, thank you so much for the statement, Mr. Devahil. And thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much to you all for participating in this very important discussion. I will hand over this mic to our beautiful hosts today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I sincerely thank all our esteemed set of panel, keynote speaker, moderator and chair for this session, and all the wonderful panelists. I think this session offered a very, very comprehensive look at the global accounting and finance outsourcing, highlighting the key trends, regional insights, and emerging opportunities across the world and in Nepal as well. And we also explored the growing role of artificial intelligence in improving efficiency, or let's say accuracy and decision making, highlighting that AI will not replace us as long as we continue to adapt, upskill and embrace new technology as well. Now, may I now kindly request the Vice President of ICAN, Mr. Anandaraj Sharma Wagle, to kindly present token of appreciation to our keynote speaker, moderator, and all our panelists for this session. I kindly request CA Anandaraj Sharma Wagle to offer token of appreciation to our chairperson and moderator for this session, CA Nil Bahadur Saru Magar, President ICAN. And also, I would like to request Mr. Wagle to offer token of appreciation to our keynote speaker, Mr. David Hill, Director of Remote Services, now CFO. Thank you all for that very, very insightful keynote remarks. And also, I kindly request to offer token of appreciation to our panelist, Mr. Saroj Sapkota, partner AZK Partners. Likewise, we do have CA Dhaval Kumar Deepak Thakur, outsourcing partner and head Center of Excellence, JHS Consulting. Last but not the least, we have CA Razu Gazril, CEO, Sterling Wells, as an eminent panelist for this very first session of the day. With this, we've come to an end of our very first session. I request all our panel and Vice President for a group photo opportunity. May I request everybody to rise for a group photo opportunity, or maybe we can sit. Maybe we should join in the center of the stage for a group photo opportunity. And we also discussed about Nepal's potential to be a hub for accounting tourism as well, by combining professional training and outsourcing with its beautiful landscape and rich culture. With skilled accountants, lower cost and a growing English-speaking workforce, definitely Nepal can be a hub for accounting tourism. With this, we've come to an end of the first session. We do have many more exciting sessions lined up for you, and we are heading for a lunch. See you on the other side of lunch. Thank you. Lunch ka lagi